If you don't enjoy bleeding from your feet, thighs, taint, ass crack, or underarms, then I highly recommend Salty Britches. I've tried a lot of anti-chafe ointments, and in my opinion, Salty Britches lasts the longest and gives the best barrier between your skin and anything that causes friction. For all my returning viewers, welcome back, and for my new viewers, welcome. As usual, this is an unpaid and unsponsored review, and I do these reviews because I like sharing my experiences and I like helping you make informed decisions. So, let's jump right into it and get started with some distinguishing features and uses of Salty Britches. Salty Britches is a skin barrier ointment, not a lubricant. This is an important distinction because lubricants leave the skin feeling very slick, whereas a skin barrier ointment protects the skin without leaving it slippery and a slick feeling. This is achieved through the use of petroleum and wax products, providing a skin barrier that protects the skin without choking it. Due to this petroleum and wax base, Salty Britches, once applied, will last an impressively long time on your skin. For underarms, I get about 8 hours of protection, for thighs and crotch about 6 hours, and for feet, usually about 6 hours, but if it's really wet, really hot outside, I can expect about 3 to 4 hours of protection. As many of you know, I'm based in Florida, so I usually get soaked in sweat within 5-10 minutes of starting a run. What I like about Salty Britches is that it doesn't get diluted by sweat or by water, so that makes reapplication very easy when I need it the most. Also, if I find myself chafed or sunburned, I can apply Salty Britches to those areas and prevent further damage. I need to note though that Salty Britches doesn't have any medicinal or pain relieving properties, so applying it to those chafed, sunburned areas will just be to prevent further damage due to irritations, due to friction. It's not going to help heal those areas. Salty Britches is also very temperature resistant, and aside from very hot or very cold environments, it's going to retain that waxy, thick feeling. Many other products will harden when it gets cold, or they're going to turn watery when it gets hot, so it's nice having one product I can use during, the general temperature swings, the day to night cycles. It's not going to get melted in your pack, and it's not going to get frozen solid overnight in most scenarios. If you do find yourself in an extremely cold environment, Salty Britches actually sells a specific version of their ointment that holds up better in those really cold environments that doesn't get quite as hard. So I would definitely check that out if you're planning on taking it on a ski trip or anywhere that's freezing cold. As far as extremely hot temperatures go, the only time I've had Salty Britches melt is when I left it in my car on a Florida summer day. When I opened the tube, it was pretty melted, so keep it under 110, 120 degrees and you should be good. Salty Britches won't stain your clothes or leave any odors, and it washes off pretty easily too. With a bit of soap, a bit of scrubbing, comes right off. Not much more to say here. It leaves no trace and protects your expensive running gear. The thing is, what I just mentioned about Salty Britches applies to many of the other products that are out on the market right now. So for this next section, I'd like to take a moment and give a word on why Salty Britches is my top preferred product. I'm going to keep this section short and sweet because, as I mentioned, many of these products have the same base features as Salty Britches. Squirrel's nut butter is great, but doesn't last very long. I also find that it rubs off very easily and doesn't apply quite as nicely when your skin's already wet. I do like that it comes in a tub or a roller though, because Salty Britches just comes in this little tube that has this little nozzle. It's great, but I would like the versatility of having a tub. That way I can more easily apply Salty Britches pre-race as opposed to using this little tube. Trail Toes was my previous favorite, but it doesn't give quite the same level of protection or longevity as Salty Britches has given me. It does last longer than Squirrel's Nut Butter though, and it would actually be my runner-up. I do really like Trail Toes, but I find that it is a slightly inferior version of Salty Britches. I believe it only comes in a jar as well, which I don't really like that because many times out on the trail, I've gotten dirt and debris in the tub mixed in with the lube, so that is a downside of Trail Toes. Generic petroleum jelly is another cheap alternative that I know many people use, but it's very oily, it's very slick, and I find that it doesn't give the same level of protection as a dedicated skin barrier ointment. During races or hikes, I do always carry one of these tiny single-use packets of Vaseline though. As you can see, it's much smaller than Salty Britches, packs up way nicer. So it is a good alternative. It's a cheap alternative, but it is cheap, it is oily, and there's a potential of it staining your clothes. I know many hardcore Florida ultra runners that swear by Desitin. However, I've personally never tried it. Reasons for that being you need to coat your feet in it. It's this thick white substance. It rubs off on your clothes, on your socks, and I heard it's impossible to get that smell out of your running socks once you're done. I'm sure it works, but I prefer to use scentless and easily washable solutions. Each of these products will protect your feet, there is no doubt about that, but personally, I find that Salty Britches does the best job. But it doesn't matter what you use if you're not using it right. So for this next section, I'd like to give a quick word of advice. Anti-chafe ointments are not a bulletproof solution, but they're pretty close. You still need to be conscious of what you're putting your body through and watch out for signs of irritation, even to areas where you just applied the ointment. For feet, wear high quality socks. I prefer merino wool. Check out my smart wool review. And if you feel a hot spot, stop and address it immediately and don't wait till it becomes a problem. If your legs or upper body becomes sandy, clean yourself off, you filthy animal. In my experience, the worst blisters are caused by irritants, usually sand or dirt, so make sure that at every point in a race or a hike, to stop, clean yourself off, and get rid of those irritants that cause friction. I won't go into all my anti-chafing advice, that's going to be a whole separate video, but my point is that anti-chafing ointments, they're a tool that we use to achieve our goals, and with any tool, we need to know how to use them right, and there are many different factors in any particular race, or hike, or event that we need to remain aware of at all times, just to make sure that we finish that event healthy and injury-free. In summary, Salty Britches is long-lasting, provides a solid barrier from your skin against irritants, and doesn't leave your clothes stained or smelling bad. I find that it outperforms all the other brands I've tested, and is my top choice for running, for hiking, even for casual situations where chafing may be an issue. I've used it on my kid's diaper rash. I used it on vacation once where I had a backpack strap that was irritating my shoulder. It's a product that when I'm going on vacation, when I'm hopping in the car, I always toss it in a bag for those just in case moments. It's on the expensive end as far as chafing ointments go. Squirrel's Nut Butter, Trail Toes, Salty Britches, those are going to cost you a lot. Vaseline, Decidin, those are going to be really cheap. However, with Salty Britches in particular, I find that I have to apply it less, and I have to apply less of it to get that protection. So one tube ends up lasting quite a long time, so there's definitely value there. So that's it. I hope this video helped you decide if Salty Britches is right for you, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. Also, I want to hear from you about what you're using to battle your chafing. Have you had the same experience as me using Salty Britches, or do you swear by a different product? I really want to hear from you, particularly because I'm always up for trying new products, so if there's anything that you swear by that's worked for you, please comment down below. I'll buy it, give it a shot, and report back. Thank you everyone for watching. For all my returning viewers, it's great to have you back. I'm happy you watched the whole video. And for all my new viewers, man, I'm happy you got to this point. It must mean that you really like this review, and maybe you'd like to see more reviews by me. Go ahead, and I'm not going to ask you to smash or tap or do whatever to the like button. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to press the like button. It's a little odd. Probably going to cut this. That's all I got. I hope everyone stays safe out there doing your runs, hikes, doing whatever you guys do. Thank you guys for being here, and I can't wait to see you do something amazing.